All right. Well, that's fast. I'm paying attention to the countdown. Hope you guys are doing well. Live view right now, Churchill Downs. Good morning, everyone. It is Derby week here into Wave Country. It's the time of the year we need to shine, right? So, it's great as long as we have the weather to cooperate with Derby week, but we all know that that can be a bit of a challenge. So, this is the time period for the week here that we obviously just focus mainly on all the events we got going on, rain chances, any threats you'll have as you make your plans. Certainly, Oaks and Derby will be the highlights of tracking all these different systems moving through. It doesn't look as active as what it did last week when I last saw you guys, but the timing has shifted to where more of the bigger events are starting to look to be more impacted. Yes, I'm talking about the Run for the Lilies and maybe at least part of the day for the Run for the Roses. But the Lilies, I think, will be a little more at risk of some rainfall. But before we even get to that, we have a few items to address in the short term as well. Now, I know a lot of you are just now getting your notifications from the app and are just now able to get logged in. So I'll kind of go a bit slow here to start with, and that's one. I'll kind of go slow with here to start, and then I'll get into the more finer details in just a second. Good morning to Ashley. Hello again to Tracy and Adam. Always good to see you in here. Hope you're doing well there into Bloomington, Indiana. Okay, let's start with the latest outside on the current view. Now, Adam already mentioned he's got some light drizzle there where he's at in the IU campus area into Bloomington. And you can see it's behind the banner there, but there is some light rain. Here's the thing. This first little batch of rain is going to struggle to stay together. So for much of Indiana and really much of you watching right now, we're going to hold on to dry weather for several more hours. It's going to take until late this afternoon and certainly tonight to start to ramp the rain chance up. Now, as we start to see that happen, you're going to see a few pop-ups develop this afternoon in advance of what will be the main wall of rain tonight. So that's why the rain chance will start a bit early for some of you, low-end rain chances for the afternoon, just to account for anything that can indeed pop up ahead of the line. Otherwise, the main line, you should notice in your area when you tap on the app, the rain chance goes to, I think I put just about everyone at 100% for tonight. And that could come with a few elements we need to watch. All right, first off, here's a wider view at this band of rain. And this is the same front that produced part of the tornado outbreak for the weekend. It was the second leg of that. So really the Oklahoma tornadoes. This was the front that was doing all that. And it is obviously really tamed down, thank goodness, from what they had over the weekend. Still got some rainfall that's ongoing. Notice the flash flood warning that is out for southern Missouri. And technically now they call them just flood warnings. They don't use flash anymore, but that's going to be a habit I'm going to have a hard time breaking. Anyway, so for you technical ones out there who are watching that. All right. But still, you can see that the train of moisture is heading east. Why is there a flood warning that is out into southern Missouri? Well, the reason for that is the flow. They've had more rain than we've had. Secondly, the flow is very weak now with this front moving through. Now, the plus side to that is it's taken away our severe risk that we have to worry about. Could be a few bursts of gusty winds here and there, but not to the point of organized severe, and certainly not to the point of what this front was doing for the lower 48 the entire weekend. We get the tamer version of this, but I think our biggest challenge we've got is because it is slow, when is it going to move through here? And to add on to that, there will be a low pressure, or what we call like an MCV type of feature, that is going to form right here into Arkansas and near Memphis. It's not there yet. I would say at about 6 hours or so, it should begin to develop. For those of you that stare at the models a lot and stare at the weather radar a lot, you should be able to notice when it does form, because it'll have a little more of a low pressure look to it, a bit of a spin. Still got the front attached to it on the northern side, but you also will have a mini cold front too on the southern side of it. The problem with this whole thing is that because we have to wait for that low to develop, the moisture flow is going to be fairly continuous. So as we head into tonight, this low is going to continue to drift east and just take its time getting its act together, and then eventually just kind of grabbing the rain with it and then kind of rolling along through the Ohio River Valley. And it will take 12 hours from now to get into the West Virginia area. So because of that slow nature, my concern with that is that we have a tremendous amount of moisture, and this is coming straight in from the Gulf for heavy rainfall. And some cases, some impressive rainfall may indeed take place. So the severe risk today is not a concern. You can see it's got a marginal down closer to the Gulf, better moisture area. Makes sense. A little bit of a marginal there ahead of the parent low way to the north, not far from the UP of Michigan. Tomorrow, another round of severe weather starts to regain into the Midwest. That's a front moving in, and that may have some impact for your Wednesday. But that impact has lowered quite a bit. I'll explain on that coming up in just a second as well. All right, so let's dive into it. Here is Futurecast, and boy, it went fast. Let me try to rewind that. Sorry about that. Let's get into this afternoon. You see the front end of the rain band here. I kind of go back and forth with it, front and back, so you guys can see the timing. And again, you can see how a few downpours try to form ahead of this as we head into the afternoon hours. Again, the reason why we got the low end rain chance, especially near west of I-65. We'll get into tonight. Now that low is developing down there. If you look at the bottom left of the image near Jonesboro, the low is developing, but at that point, we're still dealing with a front that has not been able to move yet. So we're just getting one round of rain after another, surging northeast right into your backyard for tonight. And it really doesn't get going east until the low grabs a hold of everything. And then at that point, 7 to 8 o'clock in the morning or so, then it finally moves on out and clears us out as we head into Tuesday afternoon. And then we get into Wednesday. The only thing here, let me have to play this back out. Sorry. Hold on one second. Is there that front that has the new severe risk with it back into the Midwest? Well, as that drops down, there will be a fading area of thunderstorms that would have likely been severe throughout the day on Tuesday, tomorrow. Will then be dropping in late Tuesday night into Wednesday and an arc, a fading area of thunderstorms. This wave is going to continue to move down like this, and then like this, and then like this, basically, kind of just hovered in east-west fashion. The problem with that is there will be quite a bit of fuel here across Kentucky as we head into Wednesday. It's going to be a very warm day. Instability will be there as far as adding CAPE. However, the atmosphere does look to be fairly capped, which means there will be a lid on it. And because of this outflow, this is the only trigger there is. There's no front. So if that outflow were to suddenly reignite into thunderstorms Wednesday afternoon, that would change the forecast. But right now, that risk is low because, again, we should have warming above our heads, allowing for a cap and keeping it quiet. So the end result is that Wednesday for the Great Steamboat Race will be a very warm day. Can't entirely get rid of the rain chance in case we were to see signs that this could trigger again Wednesday, that boundary moves out of Illinois that may try to refire. That would quickly change the forecast. But compared to what I saw last week, I just don't see much of a boundary in the area to really get things going. And that's a good thing because, again, there will be a lot of fuel laying here being brought in from that front. But if the front can't do anything to fire the storms in the front, and then all that energy just basically has a chance to sit there. But you're going to be sweating for sure on your Wednesday. Something I'll be watching for sure in the next 24 hours. All right. You can see the fuel Wednesday afternoon. You see how that kind of builds in very much across southern areas of Indiana and northern Kentucky, right ahead of where that boundary is. Now, here's the thing is this is going to be a warm front eventually, and it's going to head back north again wherever it settles. So this will all surge north as we head into Thursday. And boy, Thurby, when I left here on Friday, looked like it was going to be not really a wash-up, but boy, close to it. And today, with this warm front being signaled to move back up as we into Wednesday night and Thursday, well, once again, we're fairly capped on Thursday. So that allows us to be mainly dry and quite warm. So Thurby went from a high rain chance to a much lower one as a result. So far, if you're keeping tabs, and there will be a test on this, get your Scantrons out. Number 2 pencil only, please. As we head into the next couple of days, we've got to worry about the heavy rain for tonight across the region. We end up with a quiet day tomorrow. That's good. Some leftover showers early. Otherwise, a nice afternoon. Wednesday, unstable, warm, but the lack of trigger will be there. Won't be there, or lack of trigger will be there. I'll get it right. Dyslexia. So we don't have to worry about thunderstorms fired up in a big way there on Wednesday. That's good. And then Thurby, we end up with a warm front flying way out of here. So that allows us to be warm, quite warm potentially, humid outside, but no thunderstorm potential that really would be organized at all. So that would then lead us to the issue that will come into play for Oaks and Derby, which I'll get to in a second. So that's the outlook all the way into Thursday. Rain chance for tonight as we head into the overnight hours. This is where, again, you see the problem here with that surging of rain north and east, the front lingering a bit until the low forms in Arkansas and pulls us out. There could be some excessive amounts here. And I've seen this on several models, not just one, that are amounts that are over 2 inches that are showing up. There is a flood risk that is out from the Weather Prediction Center for flash flooding for the area for tonight for that potential. It's a low end potential, but it is there. And the reason why it is low and not high is that first off, the ground can handle, I would say, a good inch of rainfall, maybe up to 1.25 inches without any significant issues starting to show up. You get to 1.5 inches and up to 2 inches, we're going to start running into reports of some minor flooding that will develop. And certainly if we were to get over 2 inches of rain, 2.5, then we run into a little bit more of a bigger issue. But if you are working second shift or third shift for tomorrow night into early Wednesday, just be aware, or tonight, sorry, so many time frames. If you're heading out tonight for second shift or third shift, just be aware there could be some excessive rainfall in the area. Be careful traveling on the roads. If you can't see the road ahead of you, as you always say, turn around, don't drown, right? If you don't know, especially if it's a roadway you don't know very well, just don't even try to guess how deep that water could be. Just get out of it and go back to where you know there is a route that is not featuring a water-covered roadway. And not all roads will see this. You see how narrow the band is. I mean, the model lane doesn't give 2 inches of rain for Marion County. It doesn't for Paoli. It aims it right into the part of the Louisville area. Now, is this exactly right? Well, we all know how that works, right? I mean, you deal with a 50-mile wide here rain band that's heavy rain this far, even advanced. There's going to be a bit of a wavering that'll happen. So it could eventually end up being Marion County. It could end up being Paoli. It's going to wave a bit back and forth, which we almost want to kind of move around so it kind of distributes the rain evenly. So we don't have to have one area that's excessive on high totals and other areas hardly anything. That would be great, but that's not how the weather always works. So just be weather aware tonight. Again, we're not looking at the severe weather setup tonight. I'm more concerned about rainfall amounts and some localized, at least minor flooding that can develop. All right, so we'll be watching that as we get more data this afternoon. So the rain chance for the rest of the afternoon tonight, you see the spotty chance as we enter the afternoon is a few downpours may try to form ahead of this. But once we get into the mid to late evening window, the radar is going to light up and 100% rain as we get into the overnight. All right, so what about for Thurby Oaks? So I mentioned basically a lot about Thurby, where I think Thurby, again, the warm front's going to be way up there to the north. So we're in good shape. Now we got to deal with a cold front, yet another cold front coming our way as we get into what looks to be Oaks Day. Now, this is also a slow mover, and it gets slower as we get into Oaks Night. So as it approaches, the good news here, Ashley, I know you're watching. The good news here is that the core of the low is going to be skyrocketing back into the Great Lakes. We've seen this with almost every front so far. They keep skyrocketing to the Great Lakes, very much a summer setup, to be honest. So the severe potential, there's not a lot of wind energy here. I mean, you can get a few gusty thunderstorms for sure. But for when it comes to having, 100,000 people gathered at one spot at a track for Oaks Day, it's not so much. I mean, severe weather is bad. Don't get me wrong. It's lightning. That's the problem. We don't want lightning. That leads to delays at Churchill Downs. So that's one thing. And obviously for the heavier rain, for what you wear, right? Your outfits, ponchos. Remember, no umbrellas. So you got to deal with the ponchos. So if you haven't bought ponchos yet and you're going to Oaks, I would do it as a precaution. Get the ponchos bought now before you start running into problems where stores are like, oh, we're out or running low on supply. I would go ahead and get that supply. Hopefully you got some from last year, something you can wear. The timing on this is going to still get varied out here. I don't think it's locked in. I'm seeing that the rain could start to ramp up a little more around 1 o'clock, some delayed to almost 5, 6 o'clock. So the models can only see things in like sections this far out and like segments in general. It doesn't really have a smooth, like we would see like on a radar, how it's smooth. The modeling is not quite there yet to be able to give us that type of grid data that we need. It's trying to indicate basically that E-Town is going to have a very similar weather outlook as, say, Orange County would be in Indiana. But we know in this setup, that's not going to be the case. There's going to be much more of a difference that will happen in rainfall timing and intensity. So as we get closer and we get higher resolution of the high res models we talk about so much on the blog, that's when we're able to see Marion County and Orange County in much more detail, and then we can give you more specifics. But we got to get that tighter grid to know. So in general, still dealing with the front arriving for Oaks Day. That has not really changed a lot. It's just the finer details and timing and intensity on rain and lightning that will all matter. And we'll put that in as we get closer. Now, because this is a weak wind-filled event and the front is slowing down, you know what I'm about to say is that it could linger into Derby Day. What's going to happen is you're going to end up with this U shape. You got a front in the Appalachians, and then you've got a warm front as a new system is developing that will arrive here, by the way, Sunday, the day after Derby. So because of that, you get this little dip where the two fronts try to connect. Here's your cold front, here's your warm front, and they try to shake hands right here, basically. So the cold front comes on through, but it starts to slow down, become a little more horizontal too. Just slow down a bit, and then becomes more east-west. And eventually, as the warm front takes over for the day after Derby, moves at this angle back to the area with rain and eventually some thunder for Sunday. We're hoping, though, while we're in the middle of the U shape, the dip part, that would slide into the area just in time to allow for Derby Day, and then we'll deal with the rain on Sunday. That's the hope on this, but we don't control the weather. Despite popular belief and despite my attempts to try to control the weather, it does not work. So that's the issue we got for Oaks Day is the rain band, and Derby Day will keep the rain chance low, but we can't take it out. We can't take it out until we get a better idea on the slow in the front. So you see the spike if you look all three: Derby, Oaks, Derby. There is a bit of a warm front signal there when that front does move up on Derby for the overnight rain. That's the first few green bars you see that's accounting for that. Otherwise, for Derby, we'll keep a low storm chance in, all right, just because it's going to be warm and humid. Those will be mainly pop-ups, though, for Derby. We get into Oaks Day, it's all about the front and when it moves in. Afternoon and evening still has the greater signal that we're getting on data than the morning on Oaks. So the afternoon evening has a higher signal. And then for Derby Day, the signal is still there all the way through about midday on Derby Day before we see that signal start to really fade out. I'm hoping that will fade out faster, and it likely will as we get closer, but we're just not there yet to say yes or no. All right, so what questions can I try? Can I try to answer? Let me get the 10-day up all together and let you guys take a gander at that. Adam, I imagine ponchos don't work well with derby hats. Nope, they don't. It's not fun. It makes everything messy. I get that. Although I will say this, I've been in Churchill many times when I've had actual weather. Certainly, we all remember 2018. Try to forget it. But yes, rain makes things messy. But at the same time, it creates a very different type of energy out there too. Sometimes it really electrifies the crowd. So everyone's having fun. Everyone kind of lets go from the stiffness of being proper with your outfit, making sure that it looks nice and good. And then when everyone just realizes you're dealing with the rain, everyone's like, hey, you know what? It is what it is. Just have a good time. So there's two different ways. I've seen obviously nice weather days. Everyone's having fun and a good time, but the rain doesn't always put a damper on the mood. Sometimes it does the opposite. Derek, so your notes, will the wind be gusty today? Yes, it's already gusty now. It'll be gusty times 20 to about 30 miles per hour today. Let's see. Hi, Marianne. I hope you're doing well. Wednesday afternoon, picking up grandson at WKU. Oh, man, I remember coming home after my finals. That last final always got me. It was always like way out, separate from the other finals. And I was like, I just want to leave and get home. So, yes, I think you'll be fine. We'll keep an eye on any storm chance there, but you should be fine. Ashley, will this be flagged for an alert day for rainfall? No, our threshold is actually fairly high on rainfall because we have so many different rainfall events that happen in the area. If it is excessive in the metro for Louisville specifically, so we were to get that 2.5 inches or something like that, that could change, but that would be a short fused one. We would try to give you as much heads up as we could. We should be able to see that, though, developing in enough time to let you know. But that's a very low-end concern right now on that. Hi, Kathy. I am satisfied with the warmer temps. Flowers are in bloom. They are. A lot more mowing than we probably are used to doing this early, but they have certainly bloomed. Allergies are at their peak right now. Everyone's having a fun time with that, right? All right. Well, I'll take one more question, then I've got to get going for get ready for midday. I got more data to look at. Obviously, we got a lot going on here. Will you beat the bed races today? Nope. Kevin Harned, he's the bed race expert. He will be out there today for the tailgating they do in the parking lot at Broadbent, and then obviously we have the races that we'll be showing as we into this evening. Always a lot of fun though to watch. We actually have a bed in it again. It's back again for this year. I think Ward Jollis is the one that's driving it. Seeing how Ward was driving the golf cart during the parade yesterday, I am quite concerned. Okay, so that's it, guys. We'll see how this goes. We'll take it one step at a time. Again, and as we do that, let's focus just on that rainfall tonight. Potential for heavy rainfall. Let's focus on that and see how that trends, and then we'll be tackling all the other rain chances as the week progresses. All right, guys, take care. Stay out of trouble. Don't get arrested. I'll see you coming up on the flip side.